New year, same season. Ozone, season 2. New year, same season. City stay frozen. Big apple pressure when you step in the ozone, man. Jets, Knicks, Giants, pinstripes, orange and blue. Whole city locked in, yeah, they tuned in too. Press play, turn it up, yeah, the tone stay polling. If it's New York sports, welcome to the ozone. Welcome to the ozone. Same city, New Year, same pressure, new tone. New York, boys loud, it's the ozone. Yeah, New York outside again. New Year, same season. Ozone, season 2. Let's go.
You have entered the ozone with Omar and Dave.
Let's go, baby. We are here. It's your boy O. And you guys officially entered the ozone. And we got the show that I always look forward to all the time. And that's the Knicks playoff preview show, baby. I don't take these things for granted, especially coming from many, many dark years. And the fact that we can do another one previewing the playoffs, you know we got to do it. We just had a successful live this past weekend. We had big news about going live after every postseason game starting this Sunday. We got the WrestleMania, but we got to talk our New York Knicks, and we got a special guest in the building as well. But before we get to him, we got to bring the best co-host in the business, super producer Dave. Brother, it's a couple days, but it's been a new week. How we feeling?
I'm feeling good, brother. The Knicks ended the season with a loss, but that's fine because we understood that didn't affect the seeding, that didn't affect us so much as it did maybe the Hornets and playing home for them. But I'm feeling good, brother. Playoffs about to start. We're about to get into coverage. And you just mentioned we have a guest coming in.
We got a special guest. We got a special guest, but let me just put a disclaimer out. Guys, as I said last week, I understand the Yankees and the Mets are struggling right now. We in April. We ain't talking about them right now in this episode. You want to hear Yankees and Mets? Watch next week's episode or follow us on our socials. We're talking our New York Knicks. And to talk the New York Knicks, we got to bring out our boy Harold from the Knicks for Life TikTok page, YouTube page. This man's got the fire content out right now, and he's talking Knicks with us. Harold, what's going on, baby?
What's up, y'all? Knicks for Life out here. Thank you for having me in here. Thank you for the support. Yo, tune into this. Tune into these guys. These guys are doing a great job, and I'm just here participating. I'm glad being here, guys. Thank you.
Nah, for sure. Look, man, guys, this guy right now got daily content, and look, as us doing content, and it's not easy. My man is out here with the shorts every day, multiple. So check him out. Super producer Dave is going to have all his links in the bio. Tap in with your boy. But fellas, are you guys ready to talk some Knicks?
I think we're all wearing Knicks gear, which we didn't coordinate. That's the funny thing. So I think we're a little ready.
Let's talk some Knicks. This is This Week in Knicks Playoff Edition, baby!
This Week in Knicks.
Playoffs?
All right, y'all, this is This Week in Knicks Playoff Edition. This is where we're going to cover our New York Knicks. And as we touched on, the Knicks are going to be playing the Atlanta Hawks in the first round. But before we get into all that, we got to talk about the Knicks season as a whole. All right, the Knicks finishing with 53 wins this season. Obviously, that's more than last year. So that should be a golf clap. You know what I mean? For those that for the Tibbs lovers that, they want to criticize Mike Brown. Mike Brown's first whole season so far with the Knicks, the winningest coach, the most wins in his first year as a head coach since Pat Riley did it. But fellas, let's start off with our guest, bro. What's your initial thoughts on the Knicks 25-26 season?
I mean, it was a roller coaster. It was definitely up and downs. We started off with a slow start, and then we got hot. We won the NBA Cup championship. It was a good taste to see how it feels to succeed in this NBA level of play. Um, then the Knicks haven't won a championship since 1976, I believe. So
73.
1973 is even worse.
73.
So is even worse. So just having that feeling that the Knicks won the NBA Cup championship was a great feeling. Then we have that January slump. It was tough. But all year we was talking about the two-man game with Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson, and we finally got that. It took 78 games, but you know what? It's better late than never, and I feel good heading to the playoffs. We have 53 wins, and we didn't lose 30. We didn't get 30 losses, so
Right,
we
right.
53 and 29. So I feel good. Mike Brown, he needs to get serious. Stop putting his hand on his pockets and get to business. Go with the hot hand. Stop
Pocket Brown.
smiling. Stop hugging up players. Stop hugging up coaches. Now it's game time.
It's game time. Brother, what's your thoughts on the Knicks?
Well, look, it's a 53-29 season. He tied Pat Riley for, most wins for a coach in
He
their first
passed. He
year.
passed him. He
He
passed
passed it.
Riley.
There
Yeah.
we go. So you wanna be happy, right? This is a team that we already knew coming into this year. It was going to be under a microscope. We've mentioned it in going into the season. We've mentioned it many times throughout the season that this team was going to be highly compared to what they were under Tibbs. And is there any difference? Did you get rid of Tibbs for for a reason? And you can see that. Well, we got where we wanted to see. Right, we're in the postseason. We're in a good seeding at number 3. Um, Everybody's coming into the season, the playoffs healthy for the most part, and that's something that you wanted to see as well. We're not limping into
Hobbled
the
up. Yeah.
playoffs.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
and there are some question marks, and I think we'll get into that as we dissect this game a little bit more. But or the series and everything going forward. But there are how can you not be happy to see that these are the results? Because for a long time, you have mentioned it, Harold, that dark stretch in January. Well, the sky was falling for Knicks Twitter. Um, so
Right.
we understand how Knicks fans and New York fans can be. They're fickle, and if things are not going their way, sorry about that. But if things are going if things are not going the right way to them, then they're gonna let it be heard. And luckily for Mike Brown, he was able to shut all that noise off and get his team on track. Are there things we still want to see improve? Absolutely. But for year one, I love it.
Look, at the end of the day, obviously we gotta and I forget. It's funny. It feels like years ago, but the NBA Cup, and you highlighted that, Harold, about that was a big thing. And super producer Dave and I, we had those conversations around that time because you had people like myself who was super ecstatic that we won, and then you had some that wanted to have that act like we've been here behavior where you don't need to celebrate. No, we got bigger fish to fry, and you got to understand it as this as much as we love this team, you have to understand the history of this team, and winning is not really part of that history. So winning the NBA Cup, you know, they were intense games in that tournament, and I think that's going to be something that's going to help this team as they head to the postseason. Look, the January start, I think, is what was the true barometer of of why the Knicks are at 53 wins. Because you look at it, they went 7-8 in the month of January. If the Knicks even go right now, they dropped a bunch of games to some bad teams. And if you think about it, even if they win, let's just say 2 or 3 of those games, and maybe they finish 10-8. Now you're looking at a 56, 57 win season. You know what I mean? This whole narrative of the Knicks and that they're not much better than when they had Tibbs, and statistically that is incorrect. The winning percentage is 2.4% higher. The offensive rating is 1.4% higher. The defensive rating, they've actually better. It's a -1. The defensive rating last year under Tibbs is 113.3. This year's 112.3. And they're up. Their net rating is plus 2.4. This team, the starters' minutes are down 4 minutes. And that's the big knock. That was a big knock on Tibbs. Tibbs is going to play these guys, and you notice that the narrative is going to that. The bench average more minutes. averaged more points this season than last. So, when it comes to Mike Brown, I like what Mike Brown has done. Now, obviously, we got to address the elephant in the room. Cat. Obviously, Cat probably took the biggest sacrifice, took arguably the biggest hit when it comes to Mike Brown coming in. Obviously, from a lot of people said it, and you could tell even from watching the game, he had that Sabonis role, where he's high, he's high in the key, he's setting up, they're working through him, and we got less of a two-man game. But you highlighted this, Harold, this last week of meaningful basketball. We're gonna negate the Charlotte game. You saw a lot, especially in that Hawks game, and we're gonna get into it when we break down the series. You saw a lot of two-man game between Brunson and Cat. You saw that in the Boston game. Two big key possessions towards the end of that game where Brunson and Towns played off each other. And then you saw it in Toronto. And it could happen. Alvarado, when he comes in, he's playing that two-man game with Cat. So it's there. Brunson has the ability. Harold, I've said on this show, right, that if you expect Jalen Brunson to be Jason Kidd, then sorry, that's not going to happen. JB's not going to be that. But can Brunson get guys involved? Can he do a better job of getting guys involved? Yes, he can do that. So, that's what I'm going there. So I think overall this season has been a successful season. Obviously, Knicks fans are very, the sky's falling when you lose a game, and then it's orange and blue skies throw the parade when we win a game. But we'll that's how it goes. But Harold, I got a question for you. Obviously, the Knicks 53 wins, as super producer Dave said. This team has been able to stay healthy. Obviously, Hart's missed a few games, but for the most part, we're going into this season healthy. But the overall, who is your Knicks MVP, you would say, for this season?
My MVP will be Jalen Brunson. Although a lot of people criticize him for being a ball hog, he's too short. At the end of the day, he finds a way. That's our captain clutch. Um, he listened to us. He listened to us, and now he's making it happen with those pick and rolls with Cat. And I've been preaching for those pick and rolls. That's very dangerous. Every time they do it, it's a high percentage shot. And Cat he barely misses when they do that pick and roll two-man game. Um, Jalen Brunson, he will forever be my MVP of the Knicks. Karl Anthony Towns, he's an underrated pick because he's first in double doubles in the NBA, I believe. So a
Yeah.
lot of people like to criticize him as well, but he's just doing everything quietly, and he's still trying to figure out the system, Mike Brown system, till this day. I mean, I see we're having a little progress in the past week or so, but Jalen Brunson, he's definitely my MVP, Captain Clutch.
Dave, what about you, brother?
I'm gonna side with Brunson as well, and I hate the narrative that he's a ball hog because you don't hear people
Right.
say that about other players. You don't hear
Yeah,
them say about
everybody's favorite player now is
everybody's
Kobe
favorite
Bryant.
shot. Luke, and then
Everybody
these are
loves
the other
Kobe,
guys, right?
Luke, you know what I mean? And Kobe, last time I
Hmm.
checked, Kobe
Look
was a
across the
ball hog.
league. Look across the league. You got and I'm talking about stars that, like, if you look for a toy or you're looking at the little figures, you see the Lukas, the Tatums, the Shais. These are not ball hogs. But when it comes to Jalen Brunson,
Yep.
apparently he is, and that's the narrative that they want to put out there. That's fine. I hate using the "they against us"
Can
narrative,
I
but
say
that's
one more
literally
thing
what it
too?
is.
Can I say
Go
one
for
more
it.
thing too
Go
that
for it.
went quietly? Remember when they were saying he was a free throw merchant? You don't even hear about
Oh
that
yeah.
anymore, right?
Oh yeah.
What's
Yeah.
gonna be the next narrative? There's always gonna be a narrative when it comes to Brunson, but at the end of the day, he's gonna take the last shot and have a feeling he's gonna take one last shot and have a game winner for us in this playoffs. I don't know. I have a feeling, guys.
I
Go
think we
ahead.
got I think we got a little bit like more accustomed to what Brunson brings to the table, right? This season you come into it, you already know what you're getting out of him. I think that the lights when it's on him in the playoffs is when everybody starts to realize this guy is special because the rest of the season you didn't hear too much noise. Last year he won clutch player of the year. And that was something that we felt like, there was a lot of behind moments, a lot of like things that just showed off that game. But the fact that the Knicks didn't have to have that narrative this year, it was just all right. We already know what JB's going to bring. He averaged 26 points per game this year. You already knew what you were going to get with him, so that narrative wasn't there as much, and it just people got used to it. And those narratives that people kept saying about, like you said, ball hog, and the other things that come along with him. Well, now that's gone away. you just don't hear those things as much. So Jalen Brunson's going to be my MVP, but I'm with you with Towns. I feel like this team doesn't go far with them two not clicking.
All right, just to look, you can't go wrong with either one. Obviously, Jalen Brunson would be the ideal pick for everyone, and I think it. But just to be a little different, guys, I gotta say is Mitchell Robinson. Mitchell Robinson's ability to relatively stay healthy throughout the season. You know what I mean? Obviously, we know he missed I think it was like a handful of games at the beginning of the season. Obviously, didn't play back to backs. But when he was here, you know what I mean? When he played, he showed how dominant he is. And obviously, we know this is a contract year. Is a decision Leon Rose is going to have to make in the offseason. Whether they're going to bring in Mitch back, they're going to give him the bag, we'll see. But we'll talk about that when we get there. But I think with Mitchell Robinson's impact on the game, you see it. There's no one that can physically stop this man from getting a rebound. And there's a science to this guy's skills. It's not just jumping and grabbing a rebound. Obviously in the Knicks telecast a few games ago, he was mic'd up where he's telling Huck Porty, hey, look, Anunoby likes to shoot in the front of the rim, so usually his shots are going to bounce forward. Or, you know what I mean? He's like, this one, their shots hit more the side. You know what I mean? There's a science to it that this guy's putting in the work. And what I love to see right now is that he's getting stronger and more in shape as we're getting into the playoffs. He's been dominated Boston, dominated Atlanta, and that's a key matchup, but we're going to address that now as we preview this first round. That's an area where the Knicks can absolutely dominate Atlanta. So let's
he played
talk
60
about
games
that.
this year. He
He played 60 games.
That's his best in 4 years. So like you have
Yeah.
to bring that up. That's crucial for us.
Yeah, so let's get into it, guys. Let's get into it. We recapped the season. We're happy, but we here to talk playoffs. We here to talk the first round matchup. And right now, the Knicks with the bum loss from the Orlando Magic to the G League Celtics. We thought we was getting Toronto. Obviously, some Knicks fans wanted Toronto. I personally wanted Toronto. I thought Atlanta would be a tough matchup. As I said before, not scared, not nervous. Just thought Atlanta would just give us a little bit more fits because of the way their team is constructed with guys like Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Tyson Daniels, Jalen Johnson. But let's get into the matchups. The Knicks and the Hawks played each other 3 times this season. Obviously, all tight games. The Knicks with a 128-125 win in their first meeting of December 27th, where that was headlined by Karl-Anthony Towns, 36 points. And then in January 2nd, Atlanta had a 111-99 win against the Knicks, which honestly, you look at those 2 games, you gotta kind of throw them away because that wasn't an Atlanta team that we're playing now, obviously. And then the Knicks were missing some guys as well. But then you got the April 6th, and that one's more fresh to people's minds because that was just last week. And that game was tight. The Knicks with a 108-105 win. All right, so Harold, what was your thoughts? What was your overall thoughts when you first saw, obviously, Orlando won. Orlando lost. What was your initial thoughts, reactions, and now what's your feelings about playing Atlanta this first round?
First of all, I think Orlando are frauds. People talk about Mikal Bridges, the 5 first-round picks, but you need to talk about the Desmond Bane 5 first-round picks trade because they did all those first-round picks for what? To be a playing team, and we're in the top 3 seed, looking for championship aspirations. Boston Celtics, they handed to them with their G League bench roster and. They lead us to facing the Hawks, and this is gonna be a tough matchup. I have the Knicks at 6. I do want to have the Knicks at 5, but I have a feeling that the Knicks, there's one game that we beat ourselves. So I have Knicks.
It always
happens. Our
It always
cardiac
seems,
Knicks.
it always seems to happen. Yup. It always seems to happen.
I want to
You're
say
right about
5,
that.
but 6. I think that's where it's going to be. The matchup that everybody's going to be talking about is the bigger guard on Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson have a difficult time at times shooting against bigger guards. So Dyson Daniels is going to cover him. I'm not too worried about Jalen Johnson. He's playing great this season, but I feel like Cat, he could handle that matchup. Um, I want to see a big lineup, but as far as the Hawks, I'm not scared. We ain't ducking no smoke. We're in New York. This is gonna
No
be the
way.
hardest championship path. First we have the Hawks,
Great.
then might have Boston or Detroit, and you could go from there. But we ain't ducking no smoke. I have Knicks in 6.
All right, I love it, brother. What was your initial reactions? I know we shared it on the live a little bit, but now we got time to process that we going against the Hawks. What's your initial thoughts and feelings about this series?
Well, I want to say like everybody coming into this, I think, was kind of universal where they said they wanted to play Toronto because it would be a less grueling matchup for us to have as far as getting to the next round. Um, the number one thing I don't want to do is I don't want to overlook the Hawks. Then I get it, we can beat them. I just don't want to overlook them because this is a team that is hungry, a team that does want to come up. I imagine that Snyder's going to have a great game plan for us as well. He's going to try to take
He's
out
a good
Brunson.
coach.
That's
He's a good coach.
yeah,
He's a good coach.
his focus is going to be let's get Brunson off his game as much as possible. So I don't want to look past them and start thinking about Detroit, Boston, or anybody else that we could be facing. I want us to just focus on what they are because there are a lot of times during this season, like you and I can attest to, that the Knicks just disappoint us with the way that they start off the game. Why are you playing from behind? Why is it like this is a team that should be ahead by at least 5 points, 10 points. But the fact is that you're giving up leads and you're playing from behind. And it's great when you can do those comebacks, but you don't have to do that. You can
Yeah.
literally set the tone and just win this game out. I don't want to see the Knicks trailing. I don't want to see. I get it, 2 points, 3 points. We get that. I don't want to see you guys down by 15 and have Jalen Brunson have to do more than what he has to because you overlook them or you let your foot off the gas.
Yeah, 100%. Look, I agree with everything that you guys have said. I think I'll admit I was one that wanted Toronto. I think every Knicks fan wanted Toronto. You know what I mean? We beaten them up all season. We went perfect 5-0 against them and kind of just handled business. A lot of the games weren't really close. But when you look at this Atlanta matchup, they got players at positions that can give the Knicks some fits. We talked about it. Tyson Daniels, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Jalen Johnson. They got the wings. They got the wings there. And we all know Atlanta known for that lemon pepper. So
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? They got it there. So that's gonna be fits. They got bodies to throw at Jalen Brunson. Uh, but the one thing that the Knicks do have, and it's an astounding advantage is the size. Atlanta's not a big team. Yes, they got a Kongwu, but he's not really a center that's gonna bang pause in the paint. He's more of a finesse. He's gonna stretch the floor. He can hit a three ball here and there. But Karl Anthony Towns and Mitchell Robinson can really feast off this Atlanta bigs. They can get rebounds. And I'm gonna preface this right now, and I'm jumping the gun because I wanna get to who's the biggest X factor going into this series, and I might hint it already. If this play, I'm just gonna hint. If this player can average 25 points in these games, they're gonna win. As simple as that. And I'm gonna let y'all know in a little bit because I don't want to get it. But you look at the matchups for these two teams, and you said it, Harold. You got the Knicks in 6 because you knew they were gonna the Knicks are gonna be the Knicks. They're gonna have a cardiac Knick game where they're gonna drop one. And this is where I want to see game one. I want to see game one, the Knicks really punch them in their face. Because you're hearing this narrative. Atlanta bench their guys. You're hearing the narrative that this is the matchup they wanted. They wanted to play the Knicks. Okay, you want to play the Knicks? Then you're going to get the Knicks. I need this team to jump on them from the jump. If you look at the history, since Brunson's got here in game ones, in these first rounds, we've been starting very slow. We did it in Cleveland. Cleveland was a little bit better. But if you look at the following year against Philly, we struggled. We had to have a second half kind of comeback to get back in. Same thing happened in Philly, and the same thing happened in Detroit, where the campaign game. I don't want to see that. I want to see the Knicks being in control throughout 4 quarters, 48 minutes, get us, set the tone in this series. Atlanta's going to be jacked. Now they got a couple veterans that can kind of reel them in, but you got to think about it. These guys are going to be jacked. Jalen Johnson's going to be jacked. Tyson Daniels. These are guys that really haven't had much postseason experience. Yeah, Nickeil Alexander has, but it's a different role now. You're not the fourth option in Minnesota. you're arguably maybe the second option, maybe even the first, depending on how he's playing. So it's going to be a little bit of pressure. I do think that the regular season matchup we saw last week is going to be different. I don't think OG covered Nickeil Alexander-Walker at any point in that game. That ain't happening in the postseason.
Mm-hmm.
That ain't happening. The OG assignment will be Nickeil Alexander. And we know what playoff Mikal does. Mikal Bridges, he's going to clamp up in the postseason. So I'm excited about that. But what I will say is this. I think Atlanta, I wouldn't say they have an advantage against the Knicks. I don't. I don't think they got the best player on the floor. And that's not me talking bias. I think that's just me talking straight facts. Jalen Brunson is the best player on the floor. Karl Anthony Towns is the second best player on the floor between both teams. Now, do they have talented players? 100%. Can the athleticism give the Knicks some issues? Yes, they can give the Knicks issues with the athleticism, 100%. But the Knicks are more skilled. The Knicks are more talented. The Knicks should win this game. But Harold, is there any issues that concern you a little bit of what the Hawks can bring to this series against the Knicks?
The Hawks, they have taller defenders. They're a very athletic team. It'll give the Knicks some problems for sure. Um, they're gonna give us problems. It's not gonna be an easy matchup. It reminds me of the matchup versus the Pistons. It's a young upcoming team
Yeah,
that's tough, and there is a gritty team. They're gonna beat us up. But we're gonna come out on top. Just like how you said. They just have a Kongu and the guy Tony Bradley. That should be a matchup that we should feast on with Karl Anthony Towns and Mitch Robinson. And just like how you mentioned with Mitch Robinson, he's one of the most impactful players that in the playoffs, because if the Knicks is having a night off, missing everything, Mitch Robinson, he's there to clean up everything with his offensive rebounds, and that's when you get your second chance points. Um, the taller defenders, Dyson Daniels on Jalen Brunson. There's going to be some games that Jalen Brunson is going to have an off night, but he has to adjust. He has to get everybody involved, like how he did the past few games. I would like to see Towns get some touches in the paint early on and let everything flow from there on. Because if we play ISO and start hesitating and making shots, hesitating for shots, we're not going. The Knicks never do well when we're hesitating. Just let the ball flow. Start off with Cat in the paint, and Cat, he's great. You could use him as a Jokic. He's not going to be a Jokic,
yeah,
but you could
100%.
use him. He's one of the best big mans that could pass, and he's one of the best rebounding bigs, and he's probably one of the best big mans in 3-pointers, just shooters of all time. So he has all the materials. It all depends on Mike Brown. What is he gonna do with Cat? What's his game plan? I'm excited to see what Mike Brown has up his sleeve. Um, but yeah, that's what stands out to me. The defenders on Jalen Brunson and the inside paint with Karl Anthony Towns and Mitch Robinson. We should dominate the glass. And that will be our strength.
Yeah, brother. Same question to you, brother.
I would say I think the one I'm looking out for the most, I would say, it probably is Jalen Johnson, because this is
Yeah,
a player who the Hawks just shifted everything around. We thought Trae Young was going to be the future for them and for years more to come, but I guess the writing was in the wall once we got to the halfway point and they got rid of Trae Young. So this is a guy that they feel really high optimistically about. He was averaging over 20 points a game. He was averaging 8 assists a year. He knows how to dish it. He knows how to defend. He's a big guy who can defend multiple positions. So you're definitely going to want to watch out for him. I feel like if OG and Mikal can just lock that down for us, like I think that makes it a lot easier for us when it comes to defending those other guys. Um, Maybe Dyson Daniels gives Jalen Brunson a little bit of fits, but I feel like we should be good if we can at least simmer down Jalen Johnson.
look, 100%. I think Jalen Johnson is the focal point of that team. Obviously, there's no question that Nickeil Alexander had a great year, 20.8 points a game. Probably more than likely going to win most improved. Obviously he averaged 20. Jalen Johnson averaged 22. They got CJ McCollum, certified bucket getter. So the Knicks are gonna have some issues. They're gonna have to play some defense. The Hawks did shoot. They're slightly below 40% at the 3-point 3-point percentage. They shooting about 37%. So they're not going to light it up at the three all the time, but but they have the ability to do so. So I think, and that's been one of the Knicks' weaknesses, even with Tibbs, is their 3-point defense, and that's something that they're gonna have to address that. And you brought something up, Harold, that I'll be honest, I wish I was 1,000% confident. I wish I was 1,000% confident, but I don't know. I know Mike Brown's gonna coach well. But I'm I'm not super confident that he can outcoach certain coaches in this league. Snyder is a good coach. You know what I mean? He's had success with Utah. He's a well
Definitely
experienced
agree
head
with you, brother.
coach. You,
Definitely.
you know what I mean? So Mike Brown, that's one thing I knew with Tibbs. Tibbs, it was going to take a guru to outcoach Tibbs. You look at in the playoffs, Tibbs got outcoached by some of the greats: Eric Spoelstra, Rick Carlisle. I'll be honest, Thibodeau coached circles around Joe Mazzulla, and everybody praises Joe Mazzulla. Tibbs outcoached that man. Tibbs outcoached Bickerstaff in that Detroit series. Nick Nurse in Philly. So can Mike Brown do that? Can Mike Brown how can he give us that coach's advantage? What adjustments is he going to make if things are going left? The playoff rotation is pretty much a lock. We already know it's Shamit, Deuce, and Mitch. And I think and Clarkson, but I also think Clarkson is going to be more of a game by game thing. I think if Clarkson is able to get in the basket, play make for himself, get some points, I think he sees more minutes. If Clarkson is being Clarkson and he's making some bonehead decisions, I think he gets put out. So, but what adjustments? Like you said, Harold, do now we get more of the double big, being that we have that advantage against Atlanta. But I'm eager to see, because that's what it comes down to. It comes down to that, right? You got a playoff series. You're playing guys every other day. By the time it gets to probably like game 3, you've already known everybody's plays. You've already known everybody's plays. So it's the little nuances that the coaches make that is the difference. You know what I mean? So do the Knicks package a little bit more of a zone defense, force Atlanta to shoot? Atlanta's gonna like to drive and kick a lot. They got guys that can do that. I think Atlanta's gonna play a lot. I think the Knicks are gonna play off a lot off Dyson Daniels. I think the Knicks are really gonna force his hand. They're gonna force him to be a shooter, because I think Atlanta's gonna play us that way. And this is with Josh Hart, and this is where I want to get to the X factors, guys. So I'm gonna start off first with who I think is the biggest X factor in this series, and I kind of hinted towards it earlier. If this man averages 25 points a game in this series, any game, I'm banking it right now, chat. I'm banking it right now. Any game where this man gets 25 and up, the Knicks are winning, hands down. And that's Karl-Anthony Towns. I have been a person that's been saying this all season. You gotta feed the cat. You gotta feed the cat. The numbers are there. When Karl-Anthony Towns is getting the touches and the points, the Knicks do damage. The Knicks win the game. This is the Karl-Anthony Towns series. Yes, is Jalen Brunson going to eat? 100%. This is the series where Cat can easily average 25, 13 this whole entire series. Easy. I can see Cat getting 5 to 6 rebounds in the first quarter. This is the series where if Karl-Anthony Towns is involved, get him involved early, as we touched on. Get that two-man game working early between him and Brunson, because Cat is a rhythm guy. When Cat's in the rhythm, he's happy. He's running off the court. He's playing solid defense. He's my X factor of this series. Harold, I'm going to go to you. Who's your X factor in this series here with the Knicks and the Hawks?
All right. I'm going out the ordinary.
Okay.
Somebody that I'm gonna pick. But I just wanted to, name a different player, that nobody really talks about, and that's Mikal Bridges. He's an interesting player because it sucks to be in his position. The Knicks traded 5 first-round picks for a fourth option. For a fourth option, he's not doing as bad as people make it seem.
Yeah.
They put him in a tough situation yes, I agree. The Knicks gave up a lot, but that's not his problem. He comes to New York with added pressure, and he made two historical plays versus the Boston Celtics, stealing the ball.
Right.
And I just want to see Mikal Bridges like how he's been playing the past few games. I like what they're doing. The Knicks, Jalen Brunson is, he's laid back, getting everybody involved. And what pops out to me is that Mikal Bridges is the one that's benefiting from this too. It's not just Karl Anthony Towns. The last game when the whole starters played, he scored 7 straight points. Mikal Bridges, he does has up and down games. It feels like 16 points is his cap, but as long as he plays great defense, it doesn't matter. He could score 14 points in the first quarter. He'll score 2 points
Right.
for the
Right.
rest of the game. That's just how he is. But as long as he's aggressive, play great defense on what you just said, Alexander. As long as he shut him down, we will be fine.
Yeah.
Because I believe that Cat he's going to outperform Jalen Johnson. So that's my dark horse X factor right there, Mikal Bridges.
All right, brother. Who's yours? You look like you was going Macau until you. I saw
I
your
was going
reaction.
Mikel. I was on the same page as Harold here. I'll be honest. I really want to agree. It has to be Mikel Bridges, and it's not just because of the picks. I could care less about this point. We're in the playoffs,
Right.
but this is a guy that if he's on it, like we already know what his mid range can be when he's hidden. We already know that this guy is just as good as, and I compared him. I forgot the player's name off the top of my head, but the mid range god. This is what Mikel can be.
DeRozan.
DeMar DeRozan. Like he if he can be like that in this playoffs, then you got everything else you need because we already know the defense is going to be there. We already know he can be in everybody's face. He's just like OG. He can play multiple positions. He's going to give you a lot of fits on defense. But if that offense is clicking, I don't want to see a 10-point game. I don't want to see a 9-point game, and everybody else is like picking up the slack for you. Be the guy that also picks up this team while we don't have to rely on our bench. Be the guy that, you know what, JB can sit down for a little bit and I'm going to pick up the slack as well with Towns. Like, I really need Bridges to step up on the offense, and he can be the X factor for us in this series.
Yeah. Look, man. I think Mikel. The thing with Mikel is, and this is why I refuse to jump on him during the season with his struggles. Is that, man, I saw what he did in the playoffs last year. Harold mentioned it. The two big steals in Boston. How he doesn't get enough credit for how well he played in that series, defensively making it tough for Jalen Brown, Jason Tatum. Yeah, those guys, you're never going to be able to stop those guys. You have to be able to just make it very difficult. He did that. He got the stops when it mattered. You know what I'm saying? And there's no reason why I think he can't do that in this series. And you talked about it. When he has that mid range going, uh, he's automatic. He's automatic. I just need him to be a little bit aggressive. Just be a little bit aggressive. Don't be too passive when they're giving you the ball. You know what I mean? There are times where he settles for the pass, and it's kind of like what Harold said. If he can give us 16, but an impactful 16, let's say, for instance, a driving kick from Brunson, corner 3 ball, bam. You know what I mean? Because then now that leaves those driving lanes open for Brunson. It makes it difficult for then Atlanta, which they will. They're gonna trap him. You know what I mean? They're gonna trap Brunson off screens. They're gonna try to make life very difficult. So those corner threes are gonna be available for Mikel and Josh Hart. And if Josh Hart also can, he shot 40% from three, a career high this season. He's improved on his 3-point shot. It's a big thing. So there's a lot of key factors. I do like Mikel. You guys picking Mikel because I honestly think that he's another one. When he has big games, that just makes it a lot easier for everyone else. It's a lot more balanced
the shots that he make is momentum shots.
Right.
Like the Garden just goes crazy every time he make these shots. So I'm looking forward for Mikal Bridges.
He got the celly going on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? He got the celly going on. All right, guys. But we got it's the final. You kind of mentioned yours. You kind of predicted yours again. But for those that might have just snoozed through it, Harold, what's your predictions? Knicks. I would assume we all got the Knicks winning. But just remind everybody, what's your prediction? Knicks winning how many games? And matter of
I
fact,
have
and tell us
yeah.
how. Tell us how. We're even gonna get more methodical with it. Tell us which games, how you think it's gonna be laid out. So go ahead.
All right. I'm not too familiar with the West as much,
No,
but from the
but
East,
we're gonna talk about that in a little bit.
all right.
I mean,
The
like
East. Oh, you're
like
talking about the Knicks.
yeah, the
All
Knicks
right.
Yeah,
series, the
Knicks
Knicks
Hawks.
series.
Bet.
How many games and what games they're gonna win? Are they gonna win? Are they gonna do it by winning the first two, dropping three, this and that? I want you to explain it like
Got
that.
you.
Yeah.
Got you. All right. So I have the Knicks. I have the Knicks going to the finals, going against the Denver Nuggets. But as far as the Knicks getting there, I have the Knicks six versus the Atlanta Hawks. It's gonna be a tough matchup. Um, there's also gonna be ugly wins. You know, Knicks fans, we have to take a deep breath, get ready for the playoffs, take the week off, because we might have gray
Yeah,
hairs
yeah. I want to
when
not
it's
to
all
cut
said
you
and done.
off, not to cut you off, God. Yo, you are so right, and I think Dave and we've said this last year, bro. Enjoy the days off where the Knicks are not playing in the playoffs. Be with your loved
Yep.
ones, have fun. However, whatever you do to decompress, do that. Obviously, do it responsibly, depending on what that is. But do it. Enjoy the off days. I'm going to enjoy this week. 100%. Because on Saturday it's getting real.
It's game
You know,
time. It's game time, man.
it's getting real. So you got the Knicks in 6. How do you think they win that series? Do they take what? You got them winning the first 2 games at the Garden, splitting in Atlanta. How do they get to the 6 seed?
Um, as a Knicks fan, I would say they win. They would win the first two,
All right.
but I have a gut feeling that they are going to have a cardiac moment and give up one of those home games.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we would recover and we will win the next home game after that. So that's why I have Knicks in.
So you got basically the Knicks winning basically 2 in Atlanta and then 2 at home.
Yes. Oh wait,
Okay.
two Atlanta, two
Two.
at home, and then wait.
Yeah, so the series. So you got the Knicks in 6. So you got the Knicks. So you got the Knicks winning game 1, maybe dropping game 2. They might drop a
Yes.
game 2, is what you're saying. And
Yes,
then
and
Atlanta, they will have to win at least.
they at least have to win
Two.
one, so it'll be 2-2, and then I feel like we will win two games in a
And
row
2 in the
after that.
so
I
all
have
right.
a feeling we'll
Okay.
go 2-2.
All right. So then that means you got them winning two games in Atlanta then. 2 in Atlanta, then kind of like how they did at Detroit. They won
Yeah,
3 in Detroit.
exactly,
They won 3 in
just
Detroit,
like
1 home.
Detroit, just like.
Super producer, how do you got it formatted?
I got it Knicks in 5.
Knicks in
Oh,
5. Okay.
Yeah, I got it Knicks in 5. The way I got it going out is Knicks win game 1, lose game 2 in the Garden, and then win 2 at
And
in
Atlanta.
Atlanta, and then finish it back at home. I think the Knicks they get a wake up call like this is the playoffs, and they lose that game 2, and they just get on it from there. And game 3, 4, 5, they close it out.
I'm kind of with you on that. I think the Knicks win in 5. I think the Knicks win in 5 games. It's going to be one of the toughest 5 games ever. But I do think that the Knicks are going to be able to win the first 2 games at home. I really do. Although the pass, the Undertaker popped out.
I went to turn on my fan, and I turned on
It's
the
like
light.
the review.
It's Pat McAfee.
Yeah, I think basically what's gonna happen is I got the Knicks winning the first 2 games. And then I got them losing game 3 because that's gonna be the game where Atlanta's pumped, they're hyped, they win that game, and then you'll get the narrative. Oh, this is a series now. But then I think that the Knicks do win game 4. And I think they're going to win the dreaded game 5. That's what I think the Knicks are going to do. I think they're going to win the dreaded game 5. That's the last 2 first rounds. The Knicks have had the ability. They've had the opportunity to close out at home at Madison Square Garden, which they haven't been able to do. They have been closing out the first rounds on the road. I think this time they don't play with their food, and I do think that they close it out at the Garden, game 5. So I got the Knicks in 5. winning the first 2 in New York, splitting in Atlanta, and then closing out Game 5. But just for shits and giggles, Harold, we got the Knicks overall. What do you think about the Eastern Conference? We'll talk about the West real fast. Let's just talk about the NBA playoffs real fast. What's your thoughts on the Eastern Conference matchup? So you got Cleveland versus Toronto. Obviously, we don't know as of this recording what the play-in is looking like. Either the Celtics are going to play either Orlando or Philly, and then you have Detroit, who's going to play the bottom scrap of whoever's left in the play-in. But what's your overall thoughts on the Eastern Conference?
I think the Detroit Pistons, they have a lot of pressure on them. All eyes are on the Pistons, and due to the fact that Cade Cunningham has a collapsed lung, it's not going to be easy for them either. That's a young team that could crumble easily, and they are going to make it to the second round because they're going to face the bottom scrappers. But the Cleveland, that's an underrated team right there that could probably knock them off. So that might be an upset that I can see happening. As far as the Knicks, like we said, I see the Knicks knocking off. I think the Knicks is knocking off the Celtics in Game 6. And we're going to have a rematch against the Boston Celtics. We can't slack off on the Celtics because the first 2 games we was down by 20 and we had a comeback, these whole historic comebacks. The thing is that the Celtics are aware now. They're not going to let that happen again. They're not going to slack off, so that's going to be a tough matchup. We have to come ready. We have to have that mentality, just like how you said earlier, both of you guys. The Knicks start off slow to start off games, and we cannot have that in the playoffs. This is not the regular season anymore. This is not experimenting time. Now is now time. When it's either finals or bust over here. So um,
Mm,
I see the Knicks
mm.
versus the Cavs in the Eastern Conference Finals, and us knocking them out. That's my prediction.
You you know what's funny? I've seen that. I've actually seen some people think that Detroit's not going to make the Eastern Conference. Super producer, what's your thoughts on the Eastern Conference? 'Cause we really never even talked about it either on the live. We
No.
didn't talk about the Eastern Conference. So what's your thoughts on the matchups?
Well, I mean, look, I like the matchup of the Cavs versus the Raptors. I think that's going to be grueling for the Cavaliers to at least get there, right?
I don't think it's going to be as easy as people think. Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
I at least for them, I think that the Raptors would have been an easier team for us to play against, but I think that matched up against the Cavaliers, I think it would have been it's going to be a tougher matchup for them. As far as the Pistons go, like, yes, Harold said it best. They do have a lot of pressure on them right now. They won 60 games this year. They are looked at like heavily as favorites, even though, our side of stuff, we think that that's the Knicks. But that's a lot of pressure to put on somebody coming back from a collapsed lung. I obviously wish him the best as far as his health, but after that, I could care less if you win or lose. So like when it comes, the rest of the shakeup of this is, I agree. The Celtics is a team that we cannot, if we were to end up facing them in the next round, we cannot let the foot off the gas because this is a team that now is fully healthy, right? Tatum's back, he's looking great. And this is a team that Jalen Brown played an MVP season as well. This is a team that basically can win with their bench. Now, granted, yes, they played against the Orlando Magics, and they're 18, but this is still like a Celtics team that is just, it's from top to bottom. They are really fully equipped and they're ready to go, and we cannot let ourselves like get behind on that team. We can't. I definitely don't want to see the Knicks even come close to sniffing what looks like them losing leads.
No, 100%. I think the Eastern Conference, as I've been saying for weeks, the Eastern Conference is a better. It's a better conference right now. I think the narrative is always there, and it's fair because the West has always been better, but not this year. All 10 teams in the play-in postseason are over 500. 9 of those 10 teams have winning records against the Western Conference. So that whole narrative that the West is so much better than the East, it's not true.
Those are
The
LeBron
numbers are
fans
there.
mostly.
I yeah. It might be. It really might. But I think it's interesting on who makes the play. And I think honestly, after watching Sunday's game, I thought Orlando can give maybe Boston some fits. Obviously, Boston will win, but I thought that maybe they can give them some fits if they're able to win that 7-8 game. But after watching Sunday, I can't take Orlando serious. I don't know if it's coaching. It might be coaching. You're hearing the issues that Mosley and Ben Carroll maybe not getting along so well. It was a head scratcher decision when having him bench Desmond Bain early in the first quarter, he's not seeing action all the way into the fourth, and his reasoning of it just didn't make any sense. So, and then I think Philly's not, obviously Tyrese Maxey, Edgecombe, those are impressive. That backcourt is great, but at the end of the day, you don't know what you're gonna get from anybody else. I don't think they're gonna possess any issues for the teams. I would like to see Charlotte. I was able to watch Charlotte play a couple of those games in Detroit, and I would have loved Charlotte to get the eighth seed because I do think they're feisty. They can shoot, and they can be a little physical. They could get a little
Yeah,
grimy.
that would be
If
a
there's
crazy
anything they
first
can
round
show,
matchup
they
versus the Pistons.
they not afraid to
Yeah,
brawl with the
that would be a
Pistons.
crazy
So
matchup.
if it's anything, yeah, if it's anything, Charlotte proved was that. So, and then as you touched on, Dave, the Raptors in Cleveland. I read on Twitter that one of the reporters was saying, bro, they celebrated Orlando winning because they knew they didn't want to play New York, which tells me they were looking more forward to playing Cleveland. Take that for what it is. That can backfire. We just said that about the Hawks. You want the smoke? Now you're gonna get it. So that can backfire on them. I think matchup wise, Cleveland has too much firepower. I don't know if Barrett's gonna be healthy enough to see what he can do for Toronto. I know Quickly's been in and out of the lineup. Scotty Barnes, I think, is one of the most overrated players, yet underrated because he doesn't get talked about. But when they talk about him, they talk about him so glowingly. And it's like, bro, I just don't see it. He's just a good player. Like, I don't see this superstar that you build around. I like B.I., although B.I. was voted by his peers one of the top overrated players as well. But Cleveland's soft. And Cleveland has, as much as I like Donovan Mitchell, they got a lot of known chokers. James Harden's one of them. Donovan Mitchell's one of them. Evan Mobley, Jared Allen. The lights were too bright, Jared Allen. There's a lot of guys that need to prove themselves on that team. So I think they're gonna have a lot of pressure on them. So it's gonna be an interesting thing. Obviously, I think the Knicks and the Celtics are up for a collision course. But the Knicks got to remember this: the Celtics want their get back. The Celtics want they get back. Jalen Brown's been talking spicy since they got eliminated. This guy really wants to get their get back. So the Knicks got to keep in mind of that. They got to come in with that energy and, to know that these guys are coming to kill you. So you know what you got to do.
And their excuse, their excuse for Boston is that Tatum did go down, so they're gonna keep using that. So they're gonna come in with that energy. Well, like now we're healthy. Let's see what happens now. You definitely want to show up. All right, your guys back on the court. We can still take you.
Yeah. Western Conference. Let's pivot to the Western Conference real quickly. What's your thoughts on the Western Conference, Harold? Who you think is coming out? I think you mentioned Denver coming out the West. But how do you like where the West is right now?
Like you said, I think the East is not too far off from the West. You have the Houston Rockets versus the Lakers. That's gonna be a LeBron versus Kevin Durant.
Oh, they're gonna
The
sell
first
that.
time,
They're already
they're gonna
selling
sell
that. Like,
that.
yeah.
And you know what's a crazy stat that I saw? This is the fourth time they meet up, right? And this is the first time they don't meet up in the finals. Because the first time was the OKC versus the Heat. The last two times was the Warriors versus the Cavs. So they're gonna sell that. I saw the Nuggets versus the Timberwolves. That's gonna be an interesting matchup. One of those good teams are gonna get eliminated.
in the first
And
round. Yep.
yeah, and one thing that I always mention in Nuggets is because they have Jokic no matter what. His season this year is unbelievable, averaging a triple-double. I wouldn't be surprised if he's MVP. He was my MVP in the beginning of the season. It might go to Shea. That's what it's looking like, but I wouldn't be surprised if Jokic get it. He took the Thunder to 7 games last year, and I could see it happening again. The thing with the Nuggets are, with the regular season, it seems like they're just tired of doing this all the time. Once the playoff comes in, they ramp it up. That's when Jamal Murray, he becomes one of the most clutch players in the league.
Yeah.
That's gonna be my surprising team. With those four teams that has them that's stamped. For the playoffs, the Spurs. I like the Spurs, man. They have a good chance. I wouldn't be surprised if they make the finals either. I don't know if experience is gonna backfire them. I can't say that because OKC won last year without experience. So anything could happen, but my pick is the Denver Nuggets as the underdogs.
I'll go and then I'll let you finish it, Dave. I'll say this: I've been a cheerleader for the Denver Nuggets because, as you touched on, Harold, is this Denver team took OKC to 7 games and almost eliminated them with no bench. Denver had the same issues as the Knicks last year, and it was they had no depth in their team last year. They had no depth. They were playing 6, 7 guys at the most in that playoff run. Aaron Gordon was basically playing on one leg, and you saw how contested every game was in that Denver OKC series. Denver, though, however, I think it's very similar to the Knicks. They have the toughest role. You look at their first round matchup with Minnesota. Although I do think this is probably the weakest Minnesota team in the last couple years and has been in and out of the lineup as the season ends. Julius Randle is kind of he hasn't played as good as he has with in his first 2 years in Minnesota. Even Dante struggled with his shooting. So this is they're relying a lot on the kid from they got from Chicago. I forgot his name. Dusamino, I forgot his name. But the guard that they got in Chicago,
Hmm.
they're relying a lot on him. And this Denver team, they have the depth now. They're getting healthy at the right time. Gordon is back. Uh, Cam Johnson's been playing. They got
Yeah, he's
Christian
getting
Braun.
hot now.
Yeah, they got
He's
Christian
getting hot.
Braun. Everybody's getting there. They got Tim Hardaway. I don't know if Percy Watson is going to be able to play, but if they get Watson in, then this team is stacked. From they got a legit nine guys that they can play, and and when it comes to the Spurs, as I said, I think the Spurs drew. OKC played that little girl card. They sat down guys at the end against Denver because they didn't want Denver getting to the fourth seed where they would have to match up with them in that second round. It looks like again OKC is going to get a coast to the finals. They're going to get a first round matchup either against a washed up Golden State or a very young Portland because I do think Phoenix is going to beat Portland to get the second seed. So that's going to be a feisty matchup for the Spurs. The Spurs are going to be able to win that series, but Dylan Brooks is going to make it very tough for Wemby. He's going to do some dirty shit. We all know Dylan Brooks is going to do something dirty. You know what I mean? So, but then you got OKC either matched up with a young Portland team that they're obviously much better than, or they're going to play a washed up Golden State or crappy who's Golden State linked up to in the 9-10 uh man, I'm drawing a blank. But they're gonna play a crappy team, and then in the second round,
The Clippers. Sorry.
the Clippers. Even if so, the Clippers been playing really great ball. But the Clippers is no threat to OKC. And then the second round, they're gonna potentially face LA or Houston. Yes, can Houston give them some issues? Yeah, but obviously losing Van Fleet it really derailed anything that they had going. You know what I'm saying? So obviously you would love. I think we're gonna get a collision course between the Spurs and OKC, maybe Denver, OKC. But I do like Denver getting out of the West. I do like that. Brother, what's your thoughts on the West?
I mean the matchup with the Nuggets and Timberwolves, like I think their record makes them look better than what they actually are. The Timberwolves are just not there yet, and I think that between that game with with Randall and Anthony Anthony Edwards, I don't see them getting far against the Nuggets. And then the rest of I see the Lakers moving on because the Rockets, they just don't have that guard that guard that's going to help them.
Yeah,
set the
losing
tone.
Van Fleet was big, man. Losing Van Fleet was big.
And I get it. Like there's question marks on Luka, but they get him back, even if it's going into the second round. I think the Lakers can at least give another team a challenge. But my team that I got coming out of the West is the Spurs. They're the team that I feel like, you know, at the beginning of the season, I think I spoke about it, like which is their team that you're also looking forward to seeing this year, and it's been the Spurs. They showed out. We thought that this team was maybe 2-3 years away from like showing us that they're a real powerhouse, and they did it in this year. Everybody's coming into their own. They got the Aaron Fox, they got Champagne, they got Keldon Johnson, they got a good team around Wemby. They trimmed their fat, which was Sohan, and that's fine. We picked them up, and that helps us. But I feel like that team is exactly where they want to be, and I feel like they can match up against OKC just as well as any other team that could challenge them onto the road to get to the finals. The Spurs I like them coming against them. They were 4-for-1 against the OKC this year too. That's another thing to note. So I feel like they have a good matchup if they were to match up against the Thunder.
Yeah, matchup. Styles make fights. Obviously, the Spurs match up better with OKC than they will against a Denver. You know what I mean? So I think the only question I have with the Spurs, and I know you touched on it, Harold, about that you got no concerns when it comes to that, is their experience. They are a very young team. And my boss is a big Spurs fan, and his issues, his concerns that he has with the Spurs going into the playoffs is the coaching. He's not a big fan of Johnson. So how does you know how does how does he coach during his playoffs? You know what I mean? When he's going against some pretty good coaches in the West. So we'll see how that happens. But so Harold, you got Knicks Denver in the finals. I got that as well. I got Knicks Denver in the finals. How many games though, Harold? How many games Knicks Denver?
Knicks Denver, I could see a 6-7. That's a team that's just
All
like
right.
us.
6-7,
It's
six
6-7,
seven.
just like how the kids say it. Just like how my sons say that. But yeah,
six
it's
seven.
gonna be a
All
tough
right.
matchup.
Yeah, I got Knicks. I got Knicks Denver as well in the finals. Knicks and 6, man. Knicks and 6 for 26. Super producer. Then you got Knicks Spurs rematch of the Emirates Cup. Hopefully same results, right?
Yeah, hopefully same results, but I got them going in 7.
Oh, all right. Yeah, I think it is to be a long series
Yeah,
anyway.
it's gonna be a lot of
But
heartbreaks and a lot of cheer, a
yeah,
lot of parade.
yeah, man.
MSG.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, they're gonna need the. I've always said, man, and I know a lot of Knicks fans have said it too. They're gonna need the National Guard. The Knicks win the
Oh
NBA Finals.
yes,
Just put it like that.
that's why they moved that big
Gonna be.
screen out of, and that big screen that was next to MSG. They moved
Yeah,
that out because they know.
yeah. I know. Dave. Dave, you were around there last year, right?
Yeah,
In that
I
the
was there. I was there for the
whole
playoff
Zoom.
game. Yeah,
But you were there. Oh man, I think Dave was there for Game 1 of the Eastern Conference, right? Bro,
yeah, the
that
one
was
that we
is
lost.
yeah, that
Oh,
was a
that must have
tough
been
one,
the
man.
crowd must have been like,
Yeah,
damn.
bro, we was gonna get content. Actually, Dave pops up in the telecast of that game. So obviously, Dave was outside Madison Square Garden. So I guess in one of the, when they were coming back from the commercial break, they panned into the arena outside Madison Square Garden. You could actually see Dave on the steps.
Yeah, I was trying to get some content, but it was
He was
cold. It
trying.
was
He was.
rainy. And,
Yeah.
and yeah, everybody looked defeated after that. And I remember I
Yeah.
told Omar that was a kid that I just like. He was like, "Why does this always happen to us?" And he had little tears coming down
Oh
his face,
no.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it was just like, "Oh man, that you can't make it up. You can't."
Yeah, man. So, Harold, man, thank you so much, man, for joining us. Hopefully, you can join us for some other episodes when we go live.
Yeah, I'm definitely down. Let's
So
do
we,
this.
yeah, because we're gonna be breaking down. We're gonna have reactionary postseason and shows. So, guys, you know what it is. You know what it is. Tap in following day Game 1. Your boys are gonna be live on YouTube breaking it down. We will see the schedule, guys. I just a little disclaimer right now. As of this recording, they haven't put out the schedule yet. Obviously, we know Game 1 is Saturday. Game 1 is Saturday, 6 p.m. on Amazon. Unfortunately, no more MSG telecast. It's going to be on Amazon 6 p.m. Game 1. If the schedule is up, Because I think they pretty much announced the schedules of all the first rounds, brother. Once like one of the playing teams win, because then they know how to format it and stuff like that. But we'll see. We are gonna be taped. We are gonna be live the following day of every Knicks playoff game. But we do understand that WrestleMania is this weekend. So if there is, and this is a big if, this is a big disclaimer. This is a big if the Knicks have a 2-game break, if the Knicks are off 2 days between game 1 and 2, so if they play Saturday, the Knicks is playing game 1 Saturday, and game 2 is not until Tuesday, because they might have Sunday, Monday off, then our reaction episode will be on Monday, because we want to give people to watch WrestleMania. If Knicks game 2 is Monday, then you know what? You're gonna have to double dip. You're gonna have to watch WrestleMania and us at the same time. And I just moved my camera. My bad. But Harold, man, we love the content that you do. We hopefully we could bring you back for some more live. We'll be live next time if you want to join the show again. But right now, just let our audience know where they could find you, all your social media handles, and the content that you do, man. Share your content right now to our viewers that may not know you right now.
First off, thanks to the Ozone Show. You guys do a great job. Much respect to you guys. I had a great time. I like the way how you do everything. I like the way how you structure everything. Good vibes. And we New York in here. We have that connection, that New York connection. And you can find me on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Nick for Life with a 4 in the middle. Nick for Life and why. I started doing content in November, not knowing where it will lead me to. I've met a lot of great people, a lot of great collaborations, and I do post game videos about the Knicks. And my videos has been going viral lately, and it's about to ramp up in the playoffs, and I can't wait to connect with all Knicks fans. I'm a fan too, so that's something that I will never forget myself. I'm a huge Knicks fan, and we all in this together. We're gonna have some heartbreaks, we're gonna have some ups and downs, but we're gonna have more ups than downs. But when we have those down moments, we all here together, and it's like therapy, man. It's therapeutic when we talk
Yes,
about the
sir.
Knicks. We all get together, and thank you guys for having me here, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, Knicks all day. Let's go, Knicks.
Yeah, guys, so you already know where to find our boy Harold at Nick for Life. With the 4, Dave he will have all his handles in the bio, in the description of this episode. Remember, guys, to hit a like on this as well, thumbs up, everything, hit the notification bell, because we're going live now. We're gonna go live these next few weeks during this playoff stretch. And tap in with your boys and tap in with Harold the Knicks for Life, man. So Harold, man, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for logging in with us, man, and let's go Knicks.
Thank you, man. Bless up, y'all. Have a good one. Thank you so
All
much.
right, yo. All righty, man. All right, y'all. So shout outs, man, to Harold for the Knicks for Life, man. Shout out, good peoples. As we touched on, brother, we are willing to work with a lot of collaborators, man, and I love what we could do it. Help each other's pages grow. You know what I mean? Why not? As we always said, there's enough food on the table for all of us to eat. There's no reason to gatekeep. There's no reason to do any of that. We could collaborate, help one another. Especially with something with a passion that we love, and that's the Knicks. But brother, we cannot end an episode without sharing the highlight of the week. So roll it.
He's on fire!
All right, y'all, this is highlight of the week, and we're gonna do something a little different. This has been a Knicks heavy episode. So what we decided is, brother, right, is for the highlight of the week is we're gonna have the highlight of the NBA 2025-2026 Knicks season. And I don't think there's no better highlight than bam, my man Jalen Brunson putting Anthony Black on skates in the NBA Emirates Cup semifinals as my man shook him up and knocked down the 3. That was a highlight of the week in a previous episode around that time on the Ozone, and we thought we might run it back for the highlight of the year of this Knicks 2025-2026 season.
But I love this clip. It's one of those that, like, if you're not a Knick fan, if you're a hater, you're gonna say it was an offensive foul. But I don't care. Anthony Black touched grass or floor or earth or whatever you want to call it. Sonic rings were knocked out of him, and then Jalen Brunson finishes up with the shot. I love this clip, and I'm so happy we brought it back just so we can see it again.
And he made the three. So it's like he got the hezzy crossover. Bop, 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 bop. Bam. But guys, we thank you guys for tapping in. As remember, guys, we are going to be going live now the following day of every NBA, every Knicks playoff game. It's getting into gear, y'all. It is getting into gear. Don't forget, guys, we also have an episode coming out this Friday. We are previewing WrestleMania Night 1 and 2. We got the group chat edition. We got Wells. We got Joey in the building. And we're going to be discussing WrestleMania. Are we excited? I know you're going to have to watch Friday to see how excited we are for this particular WrestleMania. So, guys, we thank you guys. Remember to follow us on our social media platforms. We are available on TikTok, Threads, Instagram, Reddit, and
X.
And Twitter. How do I forget Twitter?
Your favorite one.
On Twitter, right. You know what I'm saying? So, guys, tap in with us. Remember, guys, to hit that notification bell. Hit the thumbs up. Man, we picked up some subs on our live stream. Let's get this subs count going. You know what to do, guys. So, you already know. We tap in with y'all on Friday because we're going to be talking some wrestling. Peace.
Play, turn it up, yeah, the tone stay polling. If it's New York sports, welcome to the ozone. Woo! Welcome to the ozone. Yeah. Same city, New Year. Same pressure, new tone. New York, boys loud. It's the ozone.